Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Thursday, the 29th of August. It's transfer deadline day eve, and joining me on the video for the second day in a row is Stevie Clifford. How's it going, Stevie?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I am good. Hope everybody is well. Unlike Christmas Eve, it's not quite get the same ring of excitement, is it? So,
Well, I don't know how many presents we're going to get tomorrow, put it that way.
I'm hoping for one or two, but it's hope more than anything else, Derek.
Yeah.
As somebody said to me on social media yesterday, it's a hope that kills you. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see indeed. Plenty to discuss transfer-wise, as you will expect, folks. So without much further ado, we'll get stuck right in. And the big news, you can see the title of this video, a report that emerged yesterday that Rangers are chasing the Albanian midfielder Nedim Bajrami. He currently plays for Sassuolo. They're currently in Serie B. They got relegated, having moved from Empoli last year. He was part of the Albanian squad, if you remember, at the Euros in the summer. He scored the tournament's fastest ever goal after just 23 seconds in their 2-1 defeat to Italy. Now, we believe that talks are ongoing with Bajrami. There is interest in the Albanian player. Rangers keen on bringing him to Ibrox. Whether a deal can get done remains to be seen. It's believed the deal would be an initial loan, including an option to buy next summer. So that is the state of play with regards to that. Apart from watching him a wee bit at the Euros, Stevie, I don't know too much about him, I've got to admit, but could he be the number 10 answer we were sort of having a chat about yesterday, do you reckon?
Well, Derek, he is a football manager legend. So I remember watching the goal against Italy, and that kind of sparked my interest a wee bit, not for signing or that, just because I knew of him, and he's a good player. In 2021-22, Empoli were newly promoted, and he had 9 goals and 6 assists. So he was the main man for Empoli in that season, which 9 goals and 6 assists in Italy at that level is a pretty decent footballer. So I would be intrigued to see how this one would come, or this one would look at Rangers and how we would look, and if we were able to get him, then I would be pretty happy about that one, Derek. So yeah, if we can get this one over the line, I'm intrigued to see if we can get that Empoli form back, and I'd be quite happy about this one. I think it's got potential to be a good deal, Derek, without knowing overly why he's kind of dipped a wee bit the last couple of seasons. So obviously Sassuolo had a pretty decent, pretty disappointing season last year, getting relegated and stuff. So I would, this is one, it piques my interest. That's the best way to describe it. I'm looking to see, I can't sit here and say that he's going to be, he's been in fantastic form and everything else, but he certainly showed us enough at the Euros to think that this guy could get decent numbers and things for us if he was the option. So I think it might depend on Cantwell completing his move and Scott Wright maybe moving on also. If you can get that sort of thing done, then I reckon that we could see a wee bit of movement, hopefully.
Yep, certainly a name that came from left field, I've got to say, but certainly someone that would tick a lot of boxes. But again, not getting overly excited about this until we see him with the scarf held aloft. It's one of a number of players that Rangers have an interest in at this moment in time. You mentioned there Todd Cantwell, Stevie, edging closer to that move to Blackburn Rovers. So it looks like his time at Ibrox is very much nearing an end. It could be, if that deal is completed in the next couple of days, could be part of the Blackburn squad for the derby, Lancashire derby against Burnley at the weekend. So Cantwell looks to be heading out of the door. Seen the sort of fee that's been reported, Stevie. I've seen a lot of reaction on social media with regards to this. I've seen 600 grand being reported. Should Rangers be receiving more?
It's funny because remember last week I got pelters for saying I would take $1 million for these guys just to clear them out and the wages. We were talking about Matondo and Cantwell and Hadji and the likes. Well, yeah. I think the problem with Todd Cantwell is that he's got, 2-3 years left in his deal at a high wage. You're saving the best part of $1.5 million a year by getting him out. And we should be looking at it that way, Derek. The issue is that if he's not playing, he's not contributing, and he's not interested in playing for us, then we have to move him on. And if 600,000 is his market value because of all the baggage and everything else that comes with him, or the perceived baggage, because let's face it, he does have a reputation, rightly or wrongly.
Yep.
So with all that said, Derek, if we're saving that money, saving his wages, and you're able to then bring in somebody that can contribute, like Bajrami, for example, if that was to happen, then 600 grand is better in our pocket than it is a guy sitting in the B team, not playing, not wanting to play for the B team, not contributing to us, and still getting a hefty wage. So 600 grand it might be, Derek, but for everything else involved in it, I think it's a pretty decent deal. Would you want more? Would you want 3-4 million? Of course you would. I think that's undoubted, but you have to play the hand that's been dealt with you. And Todd Cantwell's situation deems that, that's all we were going to get for him. So Rangers need to, this is the thing, it's maybe a wider discussion in terms of the situation we're in overall, and people saying, Mikey Johnson of Celtic goes to, I think, Sheffield United, 2.5 million, etc., etc. How do they get that? The truth is that Mikey Johnson's not getting 25, 30 grand a week. And teams then, and he had a fairly decent loan move.
He was brilliant for them. Yeah, he was brilliant for them last season.
Right. So there you go then. That's the thing that people need to realise. And our players aren't attractive for teams because we're paying far too much. They aren't performing. We aren't able to get that. And that's the issue with it. So, look, it's disappointing. I get it. And I get what people were saying to me a couple of weeks ago that, £1 million for these guys is ridiculous. And I took heavy pelters for that, Derek, as you know, online. But I stand by it. Like, in order to move these guys on and start this squad rebuild and cycle again, we can't make the same mistakes we can. We need to stop picking these guys up and thinking that we can recycle them and turn them round and stuff. So, and to be fair to us, this summer's been completely different transfer-wise. But we need to make sure we don't go down that road again.
Another player Rangers have rejected an approach for is a loan offer from Norwich City for Rabbi Matondo. They were looking to acquire the Welshman on loan, but that move has been rejected by Rangers. This is fresh from being called up to the Wales squad under new boss Craig Bellamy for their upcoming internationals. I think well-deserved call-up for Rabbi Matondo as well. But we discussed him yesterday, Stevie. I wouldn't be ushering Rabbi Matondo out the door, and especially not on loan. It would have to be a substantial transfer fee for me. More than $1 million?
Listen, again, if there was solid interest in Rabbi Matondo, I would want a transfer fee.
Yeah.
And I don't think the last few weeks overly changes my opinion on him. Consistently, can he do it 6 to 8 games? Consistently, can he perform on Sunday? I wouldn't have wanted him to go on loan, kicking the can down the road a wee bit. And, would Norwich cover all his wage? If it was an obligation to buy, then that slightly changes things. But I wouldn't be rushing to get him out the door either. But again, with such a hefty kind of wage packet and things like that, is it a drain as well? That's the argument for me. I'm still not convinced that Rabbi Matondo has a future at Rangers overall. He would need to have an extremely good run of form, Derek, to convince me that he's the answer. That doesn't mean he can't do it. He's just at the moment, he's very inconsistent, isn't he? He can bend in an absolute cracker. He can have good games, but then he can have 4, 5, 6 bad ones. We need to turn his consistency into 4 or 5 good ones, 1 bad one, and then he goes again. So, maybe he is maturing, maybe he's hitting form. I'm with you. I wouldn't have loaned him out. I don't think I loan. No. But I'll be honest with you. If I can get a transfer fee for Rabbi Matondo, I would be taking it. and looking to reinvest it as well. So I'm not sure that my stance has changed all that much on him.
Well, just on that then, when you got a bit of heat for saying you would take $1 million for him, still stand by that, given his recent performances?
Do we bump it up and say we want an extra $500,000 because he's done well against Ross County at Hampden?
It's a good game at the weekend. Well, the window will be shut right enough. So
yeah. Listen, if he plays well on Sunday and Rangers get a good result, the valuation changes, and his kind of standing at Rangers changes, and then you're looking for that consistency level.
Yeah.
But at the moment, Derek, I'm not sure that my position overly changes from Rabbi Matondo. And if that money was there and the permanent transfer was there, considering how much we're paying him and stuff like that, and if it suited us the deal, then yeah, I would still look to move him on, as unpopular as that might be. A couple of good performances hasn't changed that for me, Derek. You need to have a good solid 6 months before I would say Rabbi Matondo is somebody that we're looking to keep.
Yeah. Okay. One player we discussed yesterday is that the Egyptian winger Ibrahim Adel. He had been attracting the attention of not only Rangers but Leicester, Ipswich and Getafe in Spain. Now reports over there, not only in Spain but Egypt, say that he is going to sign for Getafe. He's chosen Spain as his destination, so that is another ship that has sailed with regards to that. Another left winger that bites the dust, Stevie. I wonder if Rangers will manage to bring someone in that position. We know that there have been a number of players linked now, but Adele is another one that it looks like we're not going to be seeing at Ibrox anytime soon.
Yeah. Listen, what do you say? I was going to make some jokes about Adele and 21 and 19 and all that.
But don't go there. Don't go
after yesterday, people might get upset with me even more. If he doesn't want to come, then, and I don't know why, given the summer we're currently having, he would rather go to Spain. Like, I've got to be honest with you. Why would you not want to come to this tropical climate that is Glasgow? So, it's up to him, isn't it? It's the right market for us to be in. It's the right profile, and I'm glad we're kind of looking. If there is interest at the moment, it's just speculation. We know the amount of agents that are chucking our name into everything, Derek. So. But it was certainly one that piqued my interest, that's for sure. And he had all the right kind of attributes and things that you wanted. But it was interesting that the Norwich loan offer got rejected for Matondo. Is that tied into maybe him choosing to go elsewhere? Were we really interested in him? Are we just keeping Matondo because the manager really wants Rabbi Matondo? These are all questions, I think, that arises from it. But as this window comes to close, Derek, and we're sitting majorly squeaky bum time, I think, for a lot of us, really want signings in. I genuinely think that perhaps the need in other positions is greater than, does the manager think Cortez and Matondo and Jeffy on the left-hand side, because Jeffy can come up and play left wing, can't he? So does he think that's enough options for 6 months, at least until January, so he can he probably look at it again in January time. Could he then think that's enough and shift his attention to a 10 position where, if you're losing Cantwell and looking to replace him, that's probably more urgent than adding another left winger potentially. That's my only thoughts on it.
Well, just on the left-hand side, Stevie, not a winger, but again, it's a name that I've seen mentioned again this morning, is Brandon Williams. A point coming in from the Sniper saying that any truth in the Brandon Williams rumours, lads. He's a free agent. He's left Manchester United, spent last season on loan at Ipswich Town, so he is looking for a new club. I think there's a number of teams that are sort of made inquiries to his representatives down south. As a fullback, left fullback predominantly. Brandon Williams, are you a fan, Stevie?
I think Brandon Williams personally would want far too much money compared to what we would be willing to pay him. And I think that if you could get a decent deal for somebody like that, would he be a Flanagan type kind of signing? Remember John Flanagan came in under Steven Gerrard and was very handy. Used to fill in left and right back and was a pretty stable performer, to be fair to John Flanagan. Did pull up in the trees, but he was consistently okay.
Mm-hmm.
Could Brandon Williams come in and be a player like that, that does that? I don't think that I think his stock and value would be too high for us. If you look at the boy that we were interested from West Ham, remember the foot Johnson, and he ended up commanding £50,000, and we were never ever paid that. So I think personally, I don't know if we are properly interested in this boy. I don't know the situation with that. He's a name that has come up. I think we've discussed him before on this show, Derek. But I would just think that perhaps he would be too much money. If you could get him at a cost where he would come in and be a good rotational player and be quite a solid player, then perhaps you would look at it. But I'm not even sure that with Robbie Fraser, with Jeffy, with Ridvan Yilmaz as potential left back, you need to add another one. If you were moving Ridvan Yilmaz on for a high price, could you go and get somebody like that in? Then yeah. So I don't think it's an urgent need. If we're going to, we don't need to populate the squad we need quality, is what I'm trying to spit out. I would rather have one player. I know Clement's talked about it. Maybe we should talk a wee bit about what Clement said, but I know he said about more incomings and outgoings and stuff. See if Cantwell, Wright, Ben Davies is obviously gone. See if we get 3 or 4 out the door. Say somebody else leaves on loan or whatever, or say it's just the 3 of them, and we're all expecting 4 or 5 in because of what the manager said. I would rather have one guy, Derek, and this is just my outlook on it. I would rather have one guy that makes the absolute difference than having 2 or 3 for the sake of it. And I think that boy Williams maybe falls into the sake of it bracket because we don't urgently need that position. Whereas I think we really need a quality 10 or a quality forward that's going to make the absolute difference. We need a difference maker. So I think this team's okay. It's not where we really want it to be. But if you can give me one guy instead of getting 2 or 3, then I'd take that. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, the thing is, they've not really been linked recently to any strikers, have they? I know some.
When I meant forward, I meant like a 10, like an attacker.
Yeah, get you.
Somebody like even if it comes, somewhere about left or right, could you maybe swap things about a wee bit? Could you get somebody that floats about these positions? That's what I meant by a forward. I don't think we're getting a 9. No, I think with Dessers, Danilo, Igamane, who's supposed to be. Word is that he's doing really well in training and showing a lot. So maybe we're going to see a lot from him when he does manage to get up to speed. That's one that we should maybe keep on the kind of radar. Maybe he's going to come in and make an impact. Maybe the manager knows about that. But a forward type 10, Derek, is the one that I think can make the real difference. And if I was allowed anybody in the next 36 hours or whatever it is, I would want that one guy that makes a difference. I know it's not easy. I know these guys are really difficult to find. I know they're really difficult to finance. But if we can get that one, would I rather have 3 first team? Absolutely would. But if I can only get one in that position, that's what I'm choosing.
Yeah, just on what Clement did say last weekend, he was asked, do you expect a busy week? I expect a busy week, but more busy in incoming and a few outgoing, but outgoing not for players who are in the squad today. That's clear. More outgoing for players who are not in the squad. So he was expecting more incomings. So time is very much ticking on that one. There's no doubt about it. One player I think we discussed the other day is Stanley Nsoki. Jordan with the point. Chances of Stanley Nsoki signing. This is the Hoffenheim defender that worked with Clement at Club Brugge back in the past. Interestingly, somebody messaged me yesterday on his recent injury record, Stevie, and doesn't make for a comfortable reading, it's fair to say. He had He's out for 28 days, 2023 season with a muscle injury. Then he was out with hip problems for 12 days that same season. He was ill a couple of times that season, so he was out for about 9 days. The last season, he had tendon problems. He was out for 43 days. Had a knee problem. He was out for 10 days. Had a hip problem. He was out for 79 days. And had an ankle injury. He was out for 35 days. So it sounds right up Rangers Street given previous years, but that would send alarm bells ringing for me, Stevie.
I think it's absolutely hilarious now that we don't look as a fan base at stats and all that. We just look at his injury record and we're like, hold on, this guy had a cold in 2018. We're not signing him, right? We're not getting him. I just think it's quite funny. But I think the context of that, I've seen my very good friend Adam Thornton say that he's played 40 games, I think, in the last 2 years. Forgive me if I picked that up wrong. So I think, in terms of like where he is as a squad player and things, Clement knows him. You know what I mean? You would tend to have to try and go with what the manager says, but you would think that you're pretty strong at the back then if you get him and you've got Suter, you've got Proper, you've got Balogun. I think you're pretty strong there. I should imagine that the bids for the boy from was it Atletico Madrid, Kaki?
Kaki or whatever. Yeah,
Kaki. He's not coming anyway. Who cares? Right, so you would suggest that means the manager does want somebody at centre back. So if that's the case, then this boy seems to fit what the manager might want. I don't know a lot about him at all. I read obviously up on what Adam was saying about him and stuff, and Adam seems to think he's a pretty good fit, and I tend to try and listen to what Adam's saying. So I think that he could be a fairly decent player, a fairly decent option. Maybe get him on loan, number 10. It's okay, isn't it? So we'll see how we get on, Derek. I think that's the one to look. I would think that, I've got to be honest, see if these guys are promising signings, and what I'm trying to make by that is like there's interest. Say they're real interest. These guys are going to start arriving soon. Otherwise, you're going right to the wire. So, I would expect proper news. If we get to the end of the day and there's been no proper news, then I'm glad I'm not on the show tomorrow morning. That's for sure. So, our transfer show tomorrow night might be fun.
Yeah, a damp squib springs to mind if we don't hear news soon. But according to reports, Lille are leading the race for Stanley Nzonzi. So that looks like he could be heading back to France. It was played for France previously for PSG, but Lille are keen on him. But some other points coming in here I wanted to bring up. Well, first of all, I wanted to bring this up. Mark Hateley has been speaking, Stevie. We always listen to what Big Mark has to say. He's been speaking to Online Slots Real Money, which I think is a gambling site or what have you. But he's talking about who he would like to see come in to the club. I'm keen to get your thoughts on this. He says, I think Rangers need a centre half, an attacking midfielder and a striker. We'd take Ivan Toney from Brentford if they could afford to pay for him. Let's get Ivan in. I think he'd do. I think they need to strengthen right enough the heart of the team. I think I speak for everyone in saying if we could get big Ivan Toney in, then that's a no-brainer. Won't happen, though. Rangers don't shop in those markets anymore, unfortunately. But centre-half, attacking midfielder and a striker, I think that is positions that we'd like to see strengthened in. But what do you make of what Mark had to say there?
I think there's more chance of Mark Hateley starting up front for Rangers
right now. Yep.
in the future rather than Ivan Toney. I think that's we'd all love Ivan Toney, wouldn't we? I think that, we're a quite diverse support and there's always somebody complaining about something. I'm not sure that anyone could complain about Ivan Toney. So, well done for that one, Mark. But that's not happening, is it? Is he not away? Has he not been linked with Chelsea for 80 million and all sorts of
Saudi Arabia, I think, there's clubs or a club there that are looking to spend silly money on him. So, Yeah,
I mean, why wouldn't they spend all that money and then loan him to Rangers? Yeah, of course, that seems possible, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's changed days, of course. Back in the day, Rangers were linked to, proper superstars, some of the best players in the world. But those days, unfortunately, long gone. Tony nowhere near, of course, world class. But Rangers are not shopping in those markets anymore, unfortunately. Let's move on to a point that sort of flashed up on the side of my screen, Stephen. We touched on it there about no strikers really being linked lately, and that is due to, I think, largely the form of Cyril Dessers. Yukani Day that gets in touch. He says, got to say, I really think Dessers is coming on nicely so far this season. really liking the lad for 2024-25. 4 goals in 5, isn't it? He's scored so far. Netted a double at the weekend, and I wouldn't put it past him getting a goal on Sunday. He looks lean. Now, we all know his limitations, but at this moment in time, he's banging form, is he not, Stevie?
Yeah, 5, I think, this season
5,
now.
Yeah.
5 and 1 assist. So he scored Motherwell, St Johnstone in the Cup, 2 at the weekend, and Kiev away. So yeah, I'm making it 5. Listen, I think he's been great, hasn't he? He's one that divides opinion. He's one that drives people up the wall. One week we all think he's Ronaldo. The next week he's more Sibo. So the big guy has started off really well this season, that's for sure. And I hope that he has his moment. See if he has his moment on Sunday, Derek. If he has his moment on Sunday, all these discussions about Cyril Dessers are out the window, aren't they? Because that's you. You're now, you've went from wondering what he's going to do to being sure that he is now capable of doing that. And I think that some of the comments and criticism have been way over the top. I don't think the boy's rubbish. I don't think he's what people make out. I think that one game at New Year, if you take that out of the equation, I think that people would have a much better opinion of him. He misses chances. All strikers miss chances. You know, we were wondering about Danilo before he got injured because he was missing chances. But it's getting in those situations and then being able to get back in them and take them again. And the big guy amuses me. Like, he just laughs his way through everything, doesn't he? Misses a total sitter, smiling, just goes again. His ability to go again and that kind of mentality is pretty good. So I would love it, as Kevin Keegan said back in the day, Derek, from our time. I would love it if he has his big moment on Sunday, and he would deserve it. And do you know what? I would sit here and humbly apologise because I've given him as much criticism as anyone has because he frustrates the life out of me. What a lovely big guy he is, Derek. To deal with, to speak to, he's got loads of time for fan media. He really goes out his way to make himself available. He's a really good guy. But he's frustrating, isn't he? Because as much as he's played well, he then has that moment. See, if he has his big moment, I will sit and take it all back and I'll thoroughly get behind him. I'm thoroughly behind him anyway, but you know what I mean? He would deserve then for us to put a wee bit of respect on his name and go from there. And by the way, he has had some big moments when you think about Betis and Kiev, and he's already scored at Parkhead and stuff like that. And although we didn't get anything from that game, if he has a big moment where we do get something from a game, then I think it changes the whole perspective on him. So I think we're all rooting for him, that's for sure.
Yeah,
it was telling, though, sorry, Did just very quickly. I thought it was telling his reception when he came off the pitch last week and then shook the manager's hand, went to the bench, and his reception again from that side of the stadium was great. I think everybody is rooting for this boy and wanting him to have that moment. I'm certainly no different.
Yeah. I just get a sneaky feeling he's going to score a goal. Let's hope it's a decisive one at Parkhead on Sunday. Right, big day tomorrow. Now, of course, we are hoping for some activity today, folks, aren't we all? But tomorrow, just a heads up, we have loads happening. Now, it's transfer deadline day, so we do have a show 9 till 11. Let's please, let's have a player to talk about at least. Now, it's also going to be Europa League draw day as well, so we'll find out who Rangers will face in the new revamped Europa League. Rangers will join a total of 36 teams to battle it out in a single league table to reach the knockouts. Now, that draw will take place at 12 p.m. UK time. So Rangers will play against 4 teams at home and 4 teams away. So, we'll get an understanding who they could take on tomorrow. Of course, those final qualifiers taking place this evening. And I think this press conference for the game on Sunday, Steve, I'm hearing it could be, it's likely to be Saturday by all accounts. So looking forward to going to the training centre on the weekend.
Always good fun going to the training centre. So interesting that it's not tomorrow, isn't it, Derek? Why wouldn't you have people up on a transfer deadline day? I wonder if you're expecting people in. You know, I mean, let's just throw that in speculation. All those players that Clement promised us will all arrive tomorrow. Then we'll all be happy. Go and win on Sunday. Easy, isn't it?
Yeah. Easy as pie. So let's hope we're in for a pretty good weekend and a couple of days at the end of this week. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled as ever, folks, on the YouTube channel, on the social media accounts, and on the Rangers Review website as well for all the latest news coming out of Ibrox. And yeah, I think Joshua and Adam should be recording, for those of you that are extra members on the YouTube channel, they should be recording their latest tactics show, I think at some point today, or in fact, they're doing I think I'm not sure if Adam's there, but they're doing a special show later on. So that'll be out at some point later on today, I reckon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Right, big thanks to Stevie as ever. I will speak to you tomorrow evening, and hopefully you can all join us for that, folks, even if we don't have much to talk about. Let's hope we do, but we'll have a good laugh doing it anyway as ever. But yeah, if we don't speak to you later on today, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Bye for now.